Before you move, understand this. You were summoned to this moment. Ignoring it will not feel the same as before. This is not encouragement and it is not comfort. January 14th was marked in heaven, and something you did was noticed. You were not supposed to hear this, but you did. And that alone should tell you how serious this moment is. Archangel Michael is not speaking gently today. He was sent because a mistake was made, a line was crossed, and if this moment is ignored, the consequence will not wait. Stay here. Walking away now would be the second mistake. Archangel Michael is speaking in anger today, January 14th. You made a mistake that heaven noticed. And if you walk away from this message, it will not be forgiven lightly. My child, my beloved, before you go any further, understand that this message is not like anything you've seen before. This is not for entertainment. This is not a coincidence. This is not another gentle warning that can be ignored. You are called, yes, called, to this message because something has been seen in the spirit realm. Something heaven cannot stay silent about any longer. The angels have spoken. Jesus himself has whispered your name through the wind of prayer. And I, Archangel Michael, the defender of divine will, have been released to speak to you, but not gently. Not this time. Not after what just happened. My beloved, you may not know this, but your actions, even the ones you thought were hidden, have been echoing in the chambers of heaven. The moment you made that mistake, the moment your heart turned slightly, even if you didn't mean it, the light flickered in your soul. That flicker. Heaven saw it. We all saw it. And I must tell you, child, we have watched you slip just a little, but enough to summon a storm if not corrected now. That's why this message came not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because if you don't hear this in time, the consequence will unfold without mercy. And yet, there is still time. If you listen now. If you open your heart fully. But listen carefully, this message was blocked 3 times before it reached you. Darkness did not want you to see this. Your enemies, both physical and spiritual, would prefer you stayed blind. But you didn't. You saw it. You're here. That means you're still chosen. That means heaven still believes you can return to alignment, if you do not turn away now. Child, pause everything else. This next part is for your soul. My beloved, before I go further, let me ask this: have you subscribed to this divine channel of light? If you haven't, do it now. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but so that the messages meant for your spirit don't miss you again. Because what I'm about to reveal is not general. It's not for the world. It's for you and only you. So, make sure you're connected. Don't trust your memory. The next warning may be your rescue. You see, child, heaven's anger isn't like earth's anger. It's not rage. It's not violence. It is a fire of divine sorrow, a shaking of the heavens when a chosen one steps off the path carved with miracles. It's a cry of angels when someone who was meant to carry the oil of destiny lets it spill. And yes, today that anger has reached me. I've never come to you with this voice before, but I must. Because what was set in motion at 12:01 a.m. on January 14th cannot be undone easily. You thought it was small. You thought you were alone when you did it. But child, do you not know? The walls of heaven are never deaf. They felt it when your spirit hesitated. They felt it when you chose silence over truth. They felt it when you gave fear more power than faith. My beloved, the mistake may not seem massive to you. But to heaven, it was a crack in the glass. And if it's not sealed now, the whole window will shatter. And behind that window is everything you've ever prayed for, your marriage restoration, your financial breakthrough, the healing of your body, the salvation of someone you love. It is all tied to the obedience of this moment. You have been tested. And I must tell you in truth, you didn't pass. But do not panic. Do not weep in guilt. Instead, rise. Because heaven did not shut the book yet. This message is the last line written in grace before judgment steps in. My child, there are forces whispering to you to ignore this, to close this, to go about your day. But you know what happens when you listen to the wrong voice. Remember last month? Remember the opportunity you missed because you waited? This time is different. This time it's personal. This time, if you walk away, the door will not wait for you to knock again. I cannot lie. I was sent to fight for you, but not to beg. You must choose now. Today, my beloved, the scroll of your destiny was almost sealed with disappointment. But your name, yes, your name, flashed in the sky just before the ink dried. And God said, one more chance. Send Michael to speak. That's why I am here, trembling with urgency, because this is not a drill. This is a divine interruption. You were not supposed to see this, and yet you did. That means you are still aligned, but only barely. If you do not act now, the enemy will grab the space you abandoned. And he will not give it back without a fight. My child, my beloved, why do you doubt your power? Do you not know who you are? You carry the echo of heaven in your voice. You were chosen before your first cry. You were assigned angels before your first heartbeat. But lately, you've been treating yourself like you are ordinary. You've been letting people, circumstances, and even your own fears convince you that you don't matter. That no one is watching. But heaven is watching. We always have been. And now I must watch you decide. This very moment, this very message, will you walk toward redemption or walk away and let it all collapse? My beloved, if you only knew what God has prepared for you this year, you would never risk missing it. If you only knew the transfer of blessings that's waiting, the divine alignments already forming, the strange favor moving toward your name, you would fall to your knees in awe. But you've been distant. You've been distracted. You've let the noise of others muffle the voice of the one who called you. And that's what hurt heaven. That's what must be corrected now. My child, I say this with fire in my voice, do not leave this message. Don't minimize it. Don't file it away. Don't think maybe later. Later won't come. The angels are watching now. The scrolls are still open now. Your name is still shining, but only for a short time. The light is dimming, and I don't want to see your portion handed to another. I will not let your crown be placed on the wrong head. But I can only protect what you choose to believe. My child, my beloved, you have walked with wounds that no one sees. You've carried burdens you never deserved. And even heaven has wept, watching your nights unravel in silence. But this is not the time for heaven's silence. No. Today, January 14th, the realm above has broken protocol to speak to you directly. Because you are not just another face in the crowd. You are marked. You are named. You are noticed. And what you do next will decide more than just your future. It will decide whether the generations connected to you rise or fall. It sounds heavy, I know. But you were born for weighty things. And this weight is yours to lift or drop. My beloved, the enemy rejoiced when he saw you hesitate. He thought he had you. He thought you were walking away from your spiritual post. He whispered lies while you were sleeping. He planted fear in the cracks of your confidence. And some part of you, only for a moment, listened. But today, as I speak to you, heaven is reclaiming the ground he tried to steal. I was sent to recover what's still left in you. But I need your agreement. I need you to stop pretending you're okay with small blessings. You were never called to crumbs. You were called to carry crowns. But if you don't take this moment seriously, someone else will pick up what had your name etched in gold. My child, there is a miracle hovering right above your head. I can see it. It's glowing. It's delicate. It's wrapped in time-sensitive glory. But it's waiting on your movement. You've asked, why hasn't it arrived yet? And I must tell you, it came. It came to your door. But you weren't ready. Not spiritually. Not emotionally. Not mentally. The light knocked, but you didn't answer. But don't cry. Don't sink in shame. Because it is returning one final time. And this message is your knock. This message is your final notice. Beloved, if you've ever felt forgotten, let this moment tell you otherwise. Forgotten ones don't get messages like this. Ignored souls don't get heaven's attention this boldly. Do you understand how many angels had to move to get this message to your eyes? Do you know how many interruptions were allowed in your life to push you to this very second? Look back at the last 3 days. Look back at the strange signs, the strange dreams, the feeling of being watched. That wasn't paranoia. That wasn't stress. That was heaven screaming in the only language you'd still hear. And now I am here, louder than ever, because you still matter more than you know. My child, I need you to understand this. What you think is a delay is actually divine defense. What you call a mistake was actually the crack that let your true self be seen. God is not finished with you. That's why you're still breathing. That's why you're still called. That's why I, Archangel Michael, have been sent to deliver this message with divine fire. Because there's a moment ahead, a divine door that will open in the next 7 days. But only for those who respond. Only for those who surrender fully. Will you be one of them? My beloved, you must understand the way heaven sees time. We don't measure days by calendars. We measure them by alignment. And right now, your spirit is standing in a divine line. A portal is open, but not forever. You have about 1 moment's worth of obedience to receive what you've been praying years for. This is that moment. That's why you were nudged. That's why this message wouldn't let go. That's why even when your hands wanted to scroll away, your spirit refused. Because this isn't normal. This isn't random. This is the correction of a mistake that almost rewrote your future in ink. But the ink has not dried. I repeat, child, the ink has not dried. My beloved, I know the world has made you doubt yourself. I know you've looked in the mirror and forgotten who you really are, but heaven has never forgotten. I saw you when you first spoke light into your own darkness. I saw you when you resisted the temptation to respond in anger. I saw you when you chose to believe even when everything inside you screamed, "What's the point?" And that's why you must not walk away now. Because this is the reward moment. This is the moment where all your pain starts to make sense. But only if you don't walk away. My child, listen to me. What happens in the next few minutes of your life matters more than you realize. Every second after seeing this message is either building your deliverance or delaying it again. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to prepare you, because what's coming cannot be stopped. It can only be transferred, either to you or away from you. And if you ignore this message, the shift will still happen, but it won't have your name on it. It will pass to someone who was ready, someone who took heaven seriously, someone who didn't delay again. I say this in love, but I say it with divine seriousness. My beloved, I need you to do one thing right now. I need you to make this a covenant. If you feel this message was meant for you, and you know deep down it was, then subscribe to this stream of light. Not just with your finger, but with your spirit. Say yes to divine alignment. Say yes to the correction of your course. Say yes to the fire of transformation. Say yes to heaven's voice speaking now. Because this isn't about social media. This is about your soul, your family's future, your divine position. My child, I've seen what's ahead. I wish I could let you glimpse the next 3 months. The unexpected favor, the healing conversation, the divine phone call, the person about to walk back into your life with trembling hands and a request for forgiveness. But I cannot show you all of it yet. What I can do is tell you this: you were never as far from your breakthrough as you thought. It was always one yes away. One surrender away. And this message, is that moment, right here, right now. My beloved, do not let January 14th end without responding. Do not let this day pass and think you will catch up tomorrow. You won't. The door closes at midnight. Not because heaven is cruel, but because heaven is precise. God has been speaking. You've been distracted, but now the volume has been turned up. I'm speaking in a voice of fire. You made a mistake, but grace came running after you before the penalty hit. And this is your rescue. This message, this divine interruption, is your rescue. But if you scroll away, if you forget, if you delay again, it will be rewritten. And this time, not in pencil. My child, my beloved, I have seen the thoughts you carry in the silence, the questions you dare not say out loud, the trembling wonder inside you that whispers, "Did I already miss it?" And I must tell you, with all the fire of heaven, I would not be standing here if your answer was yes. You did not miss it, but you did delay it. The path is still open, but it is cracked. You can still walk it, but the light will only stay if you move quickly. Heaven isn't punishing you. It's pleading with you. You were not called to repeat the same painful cycles. You were not born to beg for scraps of happiness. There was a royal table prepared in your name. But child, you walked away from it out of fear, out of shame, out of mistrust. And now I am here to walk you back before the seed is gone. My beloved, let me tell you something the enemy hoped you'd never discover. You were not the mistake you made. You were not the words you said in panic. You were not the silence you kept when you should have spoken. Heaven saw that moment, but heaven also saw your tears afterward. Heaven heard the way your heart cracked under the weight of guilt. And that's why this message is not a punishment. It is a path. A path back. A map written in fire and mercy. And if you choose to walk it, your delay will become your deliverance. That is how heaven writes redemption. It turns dust into diamonds, but only for the ones who stay. My child, I feel the urgency in your soul now. I can sense the stirring. That's your spirit waking up again. That's your divine identity shaking off the chains of shame. Do not stop now. Do not scroll. Do not hesitate. Because this isn't just a message. It's a divine courtroom. And I, Archangel Michael, have been sent as both witness and defender. The case against your calling was nearly closed. But just as the gavel was lifted, a voice cried out from the throne, "Wait. The child has not yet heard the truth. That is why you're here. This is your final evidence. This is the light that can shift the entire case in your favor. My beloved, listen to me with your whole soul. The blessing you prayed for is already formed. It's already glowing. It's already on the way. But what you don't see is that it's fragile. Not because heaven is weak, but because faith is the packaging. If your faith rips, the blessing falls through the cracks. And you've been poking holes in your own promise by doubting your value. Heaven never doubted you. I never doubted you. But you've been doubting yourself in secret. You've been speaking defeat softly into your future, thinking no one hears. But we heard. And we came not to condemn, but to remind you who you are, a chosen one, a spiritual warrior, a miracle in motion. My child, I want to speak now of something you haven't told anyone. There is someone. Yes, that person you think is walking away from you for good. You think they're gone, but I see a twist coming. I see a divine reversal. I see a message being written even now on their heart. They are going to return, but only after you shift. Heaven will not let you receive people while you are still broken in the same place they left. This time, they are not returning to the old version of you. They are returning to the crowned, refined, awakened version of you. But that version only comes if you stay in this light. That's why the enemy keeps trying to pull you out. That's why distractions are louder than usual today. You are on the edge of divine identity. That's why everything feels so fragile right now. But fragile doesn't mean fake. It means sacred. My beloved, if only you could see how close you are to the turn. The spiritual GPS of your life has been saying recalculating for far too long. But that's about to stop. The moment you say yes to this alignment, everything will begin to reroute. And not slowly. I see speed coming. I see sudden change. I see the kind of shift that takes people years to experience happen for you in days. But it only happens for the one who obeys. This is not about perfection. It's about response. You don't have to be perfect, but you must respond. My child, let me speak to the pain now. The pain you thought you buried. The betrayal you brushed off but never truly healed. That moment, yes, that one, when you felt heaven had let you down. You never said it out loud, but you felt it. You held it like a secret, and it changed you quietly, slowly. That moment turned your fire into smoke. And that smoke has been choking your prayers ever since. But heaven saw it. And God never judged you for it. Instead, He sent me to give your spirit CPR, to bring you back from the numbness. That's what this message is, a spiritual defibrillator. You are dying emotionally. But this is your divine shock back to life. My beloved, if you don't remember anything else I say, remember this: when heaven speaks in fire, it means the hour is close. And I am speaking in fire. My sword is drawn. The winds are shifting. The oil of anointing is warming above your head. And if you respond to this now, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, but now, everything can change. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need 100 signs. This is your sign. This is your moment. This is your window, my child. This is not a time to explain yourself to people who don't understand. This is not a time to seek approval from voices that once rejected you. This is not a time to scroll back into mediocrity. You are standing at the spiritual gate, and if you delay, it will shut. That's not fear. That's divine law. Heaven opens doors at appointed times. And this one, this January 14th portal, is rare. It only opens once in this spiritual decade. And it's open now, but not for long. Will you walk through? Or will you let fear hold your hand while your blessing walks away? My beloved, this message is not just words. It is a living scroll. It is breathing between the lines. And the more you read, the more heaven sees your heart saying, yes. Stay here. Don't rush. Don't jump to the next thing. This is the divine moment you've been unknowingly praying for. You thought your prayer wasn't answered. But child, this message is the answer. My child, my beloved, I need you to understand this clearly. This message is not just a warning. It is a turning point. You are standing in a moment so spiritually rich, so divinely alive, that even heaven is holding its breath to see what you choose next. Do you not see what's been happening around you? The dreams, the interruptions, the people who suddenly left. The doors that closed with no warning, the delays that made no sense. That wasn't chaos. That was orchestration. Every twist and pause was a thread in heaven's tapestry, pulling you to this very point. And now that you are here, you must not let this moment dissolve. Because this isn't just for you. It's for the generations tied to your yes. My beloved, you don't need to be perfect to receive what's coming, but you do need to be present. Heaven cannot bless the version of you that refuses to be seen. It cannot anoint the mask you wear for others. It cannot elevate what you refuse to surrender. That is why I was sent, not to decorate your comfort, but to dismantle what is blocking your divine acceleration. And I say this in the fire of love: if you keep protecting your fear, your blessing will walk past you with tears in its eyes. Yes, child, your future cries when you delay. The angels mourn when you choose small thinking over supernatural faith. My child, there is something you asked God for in secret. A specific request, a very sacred one. You whispered it in exhaustion, not even sure if heaven heard. But we did. That request has not been ignored. It's been stored. It has been marinating in miracle oil. But it's weighty. And that's why your process has felt so heavy lately. Because the blessing you asked for requires a foundation that can carry it without cracking. You thought the delay meant denial. It didn't. It meant preparation. But now the preparation is complete. And your yes is the final lock that opens the gate. If you say it now, not in words, but in alignment. My beloved, I must say this with urgency: the enemy sees how close you are. That's why you felt the confusion lately. That's why your mind has been a battlefield. Because darkness always attacks proximity. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are nearing something divine. This war around you is the sound of walls about to fall. Do not retreat now. Do not hide now. This pressure is proof of proximity. And I, Archangel Michael, have drawn my sword on your behalf. But I can only protect what you're willing to possess. If you step forward, I'll clear the path. But I cannot drag you into destiny. You must walk. My child, do you remember the day you almost gave up? That moment when it felt like everything was falling apart and nothing made sense. I was there. I was the whisper that said, just hold on. You didn't know it then, but you were being watched by heaven. You passed that test. And now this is your reward call. But if you ignore this now, it will delay the reward again. I cannot sugarcoat that. Not today. Not on this sacred day when heaven is rewriting assignments and reassigning scrolls. If you don't say yes now, what had your name will be passed, not as punishment, but as protocol. That is how serious today is. My beloved, what you touch next will either turn to gold or turn to dust. And it depends entirely on what you do in the next 48 hours. This is not random. This is not guesswork. The shift is already moving. A divine decision is being made even now. And the angels have gathered to see your response. You may not feel ready, but readiness is not a feeling. It's a surrender. You were never meant to have all the answers. You were only meant to say yes. Heaven takes care of the rest. My child, let me tell you something strange: there is someone who has spoken your name in private rooms. Someone who has been divinely nudged to find you, to bless you, to open a door for you. They don't even know why yet, but they feel drawn. They feel the urge to help, to support, to uplift. And they are close, closer than you think. But the door that leads them to you is invisible until you step fully into your alignment. If you hesitate, they won't see you. If you doubt, they won't hear your name in the spirit. But if you respond now, the veil will be lifted. Their vision will clear, and they will find you. Not by chance, but by divine appointment. My beloved, I know you are tired. I know the battles have worn you down. I know some nights you wonder if you've already lost too much. But listen to me, nothing is lost in the kingdom. What was stolen can be restored. What was broken can be remade. What was buried can rise. But not for the passive. Not for the fearful. Only for the bold. Only for the ones who say, even though I'm shaking, I'll still step forward. That's who this message is for. That's who you are. Whether you feel it or not. My child, this is a sacred alert. A final cry from the gates of heaven. You are standing between mercy and memory. What will be remembered about this day? That you walked away again? Or that this was the day you woke up, stood up, and said, no more delay, no more fear, no more smallness. I choose to believe that heaven still wants me. That is the choice before you now. And the spiritual world is watching. My child, my beloved, there is something I must reveal to you now. And I do not share this lightly. A trap has been set. Not by man, not by accident, but by darkness. Strategically, carefully, maliciously. It was placed not to destroy you instantly, but to delay you indefinitely. Because the enemy knows something most of the world does not understand, that the most effective way to destroy a chosen one is not by death, but by delay. Delay in vision, delay in belief, delay in taking action, delay in responding to God's voice. That's how destinies are dismantled. Not with explosions, but with slow spiritual erosion. And child, I came because you have been caught in that erosion and didn't even realize it. But now the trap has been exposed, and that means you must act fast. My beloved, listen carefully, this trap was disguised as comfort. It came dressed as convenience. It spoke in the tone of logic. It used words that sounded responsible, safe, reasonable. It told you to wait. It told you not to step. It told you to think twice. And you believed it because it sounded calm. But heaven saw what you couldn't. That calm voice was a spirit of hesitation. And behind that hesitation was a system built to make you miss your miracle by an inch. That's all the enemy needs. Just an inch of delay, a second of doubt, and your window closes. That's why I'm not here with gentleness. I'm here with fire. Because fire breaks chains faster than kindness does. My child, you have no idea how close your name was to being moved off the scroll. Not removed from heaven, no, your salvation was never in question. But your assignment, your seat at the table of influence, that was about to be reassigned. Because while you were questioning if you were good enough, if you were worthy enough, if it was still possible, heaven had already written the outcome. But without your alignment, it would have been released to another. That is the urgency burning through this message. That is why heaven delayed judgment long enough for you to receive this moment. And that's why the next words I speak to you are not suggestions. They are instructions. My beloved, in the next 7 days, a shift will happen. Not just around you, but inside you. Your spirit will feel it first. You will feel restless, disconnected from people who used to feel like home. Certain conversations will suddenly feel too shallow. Certain habits will start to irritate you. That's not confusion. That's alignment. It means your soul is waking up from spiritual sedation. It means heaven is preparing to place you where your voice will shake atmospheres again. But this will only happen if you cooperate. You cannot return to your comfort zone now. If you do, you will numb the awakening again. And this time, the sleep may last longer than you can afford. My child, I must tell you something else, and I speak it with great seriousness. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The discomfort you've been feeling, the strange detachment from old dreams, the closed doors, they are not signs of rejection. They are signs of redirection. You were never meant to stay in the season you were in. You were never meant to keep circling the same cycle of almost breakthroughs. That cycle ends now, but only if you stop reaching for what God is trying to release you from. You keep asking for clarity. But clarity cannot come until you let go of the counterfeit. Yes, the counterfeit connection, the counterfeit opportunity, the counterfeit comfort. If it required you to shrink, it was never divine. Let it go. My beloved, I was there the moment your name was spoken over the scroll for this year. I saw the light that surrounded your calling. But I also saw how darkness immediately assigned distractions to your path. That's why your focus has been under attack. That's why your peace has been shaken. Because what's coming for you is not small. It's not normal, and it's not safe. It's supernatural. That's why everything around you is being shaken, so only what's unshakable can remain. That's why you must not run. You must not hide. You must not settle. Not now. Not this close. My child, what I am about to say may be hard to hear, but I must speak truth. If you walk away from this message, if you ignore what is being stirred in your soul, if you brush this off as coincidence, the delay you will enter could last years. Not because God is angry, but because heaven cannot move where there is no agreement. Your agreement activates angelic intervention. Your obedience fuels the miracle. Your faith breaks the final chain. That's why this message is not just revelation. It is an instruction manual. Every sentence is a key. Every paragraph is a door. Every truth is a test. And if you pass it, the favor that follows will not make sense to the human mind. My beloved, some of you are wondering, but what do I do? How do I step forward when I feel weak? And I tell you now, weakness is not your disqualification. It is your doorway. God has always chosen the fragile to carry the fire. He doesn't wait for you to feel strong. He just waits for you to say yes. Say it now. Say it with your soul. Say it with your alignment. Say it with your decision to not walk away from this sacred moment. That's how it begins. Heaven does the rest. My child, my beloved, let me now show you what heaven is writing right now. As I speak, the scroll with your name is being revisited. It was not discarded. It was not erased, but it was paused. A divine scribe, under the command of the Most High, has been instructed to wait because of you. Yes, you. Heaven has waited to finish the story of this season until your soul gave permission again. Do you understand what that means? You have the power to activate the rest of your life, not with money, not with fame, but with one word: surrender. That word is what turns an unfinished scroll into a released miracle. And child, the ink is being uncapped again. As you read this, the angels are hovering over the script. What happens next depends on you, my beloved. There is a paragraph written about the next 7 days. I can see it. It is glowing brighter than the rest. In that paragraph, there is movement, divine movement. A person is being instructed to think of you. A door is being opened in a place you never applied. A financial release is being discussed in a room you've never entered. And yet, your name is there. Not because of who you know, but because of who knows you. Heaven knows you. And child, I know you. I have defended you in battles you never even knew occurred. And now I'm fighting again, not with swords, but with this message. Because what's in this next paragraph of your life is too glorious to be missed. My child, I need you to understand the cost of ignoring this. If you walk away now, the scribe will close the scroll. And though the words will remain in the archives of heaven, they will not manifest on earth. That's what's at stake. Not your salvation, but your story. God gave you a unique narrative, a life unlike anyone else's. But too many days you've let the fear of what others think write your lines. And heaven is no longer allowing that. You must take the pen back. And the only ink that works now is obedience. My beloved, I want you to see something else. There is a moment coming exactly 4 days from now when someone will mention your name in passing. You won't be in the room. You won't even know it happened. But in that mention, a door will begin to creak open. A door connected to something you once thought you had lost forever. I'm telling you this in advance because when it happens, you must remember this message. You must anchor yourself in faith, because what opens will look too good to be real. But it will be real, and it will be yours if you remain aligned. The enemy will try to make you hesitate, to question your worthiness again. But you must not let doubt delay you one more time. My child, I also must warn you, there is a counterfeit opportunity being sent to you. Yes, even now. It will come dressed in light. It will look almost exactly like the blessing, but it will come a little too soon. It will require you to compromise just a little. It will ask you to shrink your voice to gain approval. Do not take it. It's a test. The real thing will never require you to hide your divine identity. The real thing will see your light and bow to it. You were never created to beg. You were created to attract, to carry favor that magnetizes the miraculous. But if you settle for the imitation, the scroll will close again, and the real blessing will wait another cycle to return. My beloved, someone is watching you. Not out of judgment, but out of divine instruction. They have been sent to observe how you handle this message. They won't say it. They won't reveal themselves. But they are watching how you respond to this moment, because they have been given the authority to release something into your life, something big. But only if you pass this unseen test. And this is it. Your response to this message is your response to heaven itself. I'm not asking you to perform. I'm asking you to believe. That's all. Faith unlocks doors that works could never open. My child, there is a new name written next to yours in the Spirit. It is someone whose presence will change everything. This person has been refined, prepared, and assigned. Whether romantic, spiritual, or prophetic, you will know them when they come. They will speak like they've known your soul for centuries. But you will only be able to receive them if you're healed. That's why this message came before they arrived. Because if you meet them in your brokenness, you'll reject them. But if you let this message finish its work, you'll recognize them instantly. And together, you will complete something that neither of you could have finished alone. My beloved, I know this message has been long. I know your heart is full, but I need you to stay until the very end, because the longer you remain here, the more heaven sees that your spirit is serious. You are being watched, not by spies, but by angels. Not because you're in trouble, but because you're being considered for something higher. You are not being tested to be punished. You are being tested because promotion is near. Spiritual promotion. Positional promotion. Financial promotion. Emotional promotion. But child, promotion without preparation is poison. That's why you were hidden. That's why you were delayed. That's why you are being reawakened now, because the promotion is ready. And now so are you. My child, my beloved, there is something very ancient written about you. Not just about your name now, but about your name in the spirit realm before you were born. You come from a lineage that carried a torch, a divine responsibility, a sacred purpose. But something happened in your bloodline. Someone dropped the torch. Someone gave up. Someone traded the fire for comfort. And that moment triggered a delay. One that has lasted for generations. But child, do you want to know something sacred? Heaven chose you to pick it up again. You were not born to simply survive. You were born to restore a royal bloodline that has been spiritually asleep for far too long. This isn't just about you. This is about those who came before you and those who will come after. My beloved, the mantle that was once passed from angel to prophet, from prophet to child, was dropped in your family tree. And for years the enemy laughed, thinking it would never be picked up again. But then you were born, and heaven whispered, this one. This one will see what the others ignored. And from your first cry, angels were assigned to protect the legacy tied to your life. You have always felt different. You have always felt a pull, like there was more. That's not ego. That's inheritance. That's the echo of a calling that didn't begin with you, but is destined to be fulfilled through you. My child, I know this truth stirs something in you, but let me make it clear, this inheritance cannot be claimed casually. It does not come to those who watch passively. It comes only to those who walk through fire and still say, I trust you, God. That is why your life has felt like a battle, because you were chosen to fight what others refuse to confront. You have been breaking cycles in silence, praying through pain, worshiping while bleeding. And heaven saw every moment. That's why this message is your reward. You passed the test that no one saw. And now the inheritance is moving again toward you, but only if you remain aligned. My beloved, the enemy will try everything. Now I must warn you, as this spiritual inheritance approaches, he will stir up old doubts, old people, old habits, even old dreams that no longer fit your new season. He will try to pull you back, not because you're weak, but because you're finally about to walk forward. You must not be deceived. This is the time to stay hidden in God. This is the time to speak less and pray more. This is the time to protect your peace with the fierceness of a lion. Because your inheritance is fragile while it transfers. It is forming in the spirit realm right now, and it must be guarded with full focus and relentless faith. My child, your name is being whispered in heaven's courtroom. I can hear it. There are angelic witnesses reviewing your file, not to judge you, but to determine your promotion. They are checking if your spirit is still open. They are checking if you are still willing. They are checking if you are still humble. Because pride forfeits inheritance. And you, child, are not allowed to forfeit this. Too many destinies are connected to your obedience. Too many miracles are tied to your survival. Too many chains are waiting to be broken through you. If you are still here, heaven sees you. The scroll is still open, but the ink is in the air. This was your interruption before judgment became protocol. This was mercy before silence. Do not explain this to anyone. Do not delay again. What happens next depends on what you choose right now. January 14th will be remembered in heaven by your response. Stay aligned. Because once you leave this moment, it will not call you again.